Hi class, this video is really about organizing your photos. So I'm having a little trouble with my external hard drive, but so created a sample folder for you guys just so you can follow along. So for me at least, your workflow extends prior to you importing your photos into your computers. So it starts with, offloading your images either from assignment, school related, or as a profession, working for clients and all that. So the first thing you do is, for me, my process is that I finish the assignment, I download them into or offload them into external hard drive, and then I also have a backup on cloud. So just for example, right now, for some reason, my external hard drive decided not to work. So you have a backup of all those files somewhere in cloud or in another storage facility or storage space. So I always do that, especially when I'm working on clients' work, to make sure that I have backups. Because that can happen when your external hard drive fails, something happens, and all your work is lost. Okay, so backup is what I need to emphasize when you're working on in digital. But even for assignments, if you've done something and suddenly something crashed and you don't have your assignments anymore, right? So always backup. So next thing you do after you back up your photos is importing it to Lightroom, okay, and then following along the process. So I always have a process where I would also, if you're shooting, which I do, I always create another file, DNG, right, which is more or less for longevity and in the future if you want to keep those files, right? So I delete camera raw and then I convert everything into DNG. So we do together. So for instance, all these files, I'm gonna import it into Lightroom like so. Did it go? So I'm gonna drag all that into Lightroom. So it's importing now. So here's where when your Lightroom opens, it has to copy as DNG, copy, move, or add, right? So I always, for these images, I won't, just because I already have a copy of DNG. It's already done. But for if it's new raw files, I would click on copy DNG. And where do you want to copy to? Okay, so I'm not going to do that. What I'm going to do is this add. So this is a source, and this is where your destination is. Okay, so I would, for file handling, click on Add Collection, and then my collection is maybe these were for travels, or these are actually a variety of images. Maybe I'm just going to say portfolio. So name your collection so you know where to get them. So that's added to my Lightroom already. And that's it for handling. And now this is the most important thing, right? You don't want any presets or anything right here. You want to do it once you import. So metadata is quite important. I already have one commercial to commercial done. But if you don't have it done, I suggest you click on it, or actually click on it for my class, and then name this one. I'm going to say class sample. So that's a sample, because this is a sample I'm doing for this class. That's what I would name it like that. Okay, and because I'm going to delete it afterwards. So you don't want any preset here. Basic info. Here's the important thing. You want to always have your basic info there, just so that these metadata is stored on your images. Okay, so mine is the name, Chan-Dow, Label. I normally don't put label on. I would put caption. Just go lifestyle, photograph, or whatever you think it's you want the caption to be. So I don't put any of these right on. The next thing that's important is Iptc copyrights. That means that the copyright to your images, right? So this is copyrighted to me only. So all the photos you created is copyrighted and automatically. Okay, so right of usage are usually, unless you're working for a client, I would say contact for terms of usage, and then your website, right? So, but if I'm working for a client like these bunch here, there is a term and it's limited term, and I'll put the end date of the term for the specific client, right? But that's client specific. But if it's just a general image that you've done, so you ask for contact. Okay, so creator is another important area, and then creator city, Toronto, website, my website. Although it hasn't been updated for 2 years or more, it's still on there. And then if you wanted to have a contact email there in case someone wants to use it and wants to ask you about it. Okay, so that's really the essential thing that you need to, you can fill all these other things there, but those are just essential. So for me, there's a lot of different type of images here, right? So lifestyle, food, photography, ice fishing, sweets, cupcakes. So because they're so general, actually, it's really hard to name it all. So you know what? I actually just go for lifestyle and photography, and then I'm going to go to the individual one and then add each element, because there's nothing that string them together really. These photos. Okay, so the only common thing is their lifestyle and their photography. Okay, so that's all I would put for as a whole keywords. So again, make sure Iptc copyright is done and basic info is done. Okay, and then we create, and then that's all we put here. And then once everything is done, you add, and then you click import at the bottom, right? And then everything's imported. Okay, and then this is where you will refine the refine your presets, right? So each of them is going to have their own presets. So here, or not presets, sorry, keywords. Here you would add more keywords, okay, to your metadata is there. See, all info has been added. And then list of keywords. These are the list of keywords I've done already. So you can just check them as you see fit. Okay. So on this. From here, you know what, I always do this, so actually, so I'm going to click that. Let's see if ice fishing is already here. If ice fishing is not here, then I would HI, so ice fishing is not here. So I would just add another keyword. Okay. To it. So that's how you add. So you can. So for this, it's cupcakes. copyright, maybe cupcakes, and other things that you want to put to it. Here is maybe chocolate muffin, cheese board, so you get the drill, right? So just adding more keywords, very specific keywords to each image. But usually if you're doing a set for a client, it probably has similar elements in each of it, right? So it won't be like mine, whereas it's more like a portfolio of everything. Okay, so next things I want to show you is a develop module. So the main thing with Lightroom is library develop. So that's the main thing you always play with. Okay, so double click here. Let's make this bigger. Okay, so develop. If I were to edit these, you know, I would play with exposure, make it brighter, make it darker, contrast. And you do notice, right, at the either end is really dark and really light. Don't go to the extreme, because otherwise it's going to be very, very pixelated or noisy. Okay, so you can play with these. These are highlights. It's very basic and it's intuitive, so you can just read it and play with it yourself. The other tip that I want you guys to look at is this lighting temperature. So if this was off balance, pick on somewhere that's white or the whitish white or gray and select it, and then it'll give you an automatic shift of color. Okay, so this one is the temperature. If your images is too orange or too, what's the other common color? Too orange or too magenta, select this eyedropper tool and pick somewhere that's white or close to white or a gray, and then it will automatically suggest a color for you. Okay, so I actually don't like this color, so I'm going to undo. Okay, so I'm going to reset that. Just make it like brighter and so on and so forth. Okay, so the same thing with this image here. If there was an off color, I'll pick somewhere on here, maybe the white, this white part that's supposed to be white, and automatically it turns into the color that's supposed to be. Okay, it works most of the time, not all the time, so play with it. So, okay. And then the other thing that I want you guys to play with, so Sharpen, don't try to use this that much. It does sharpen it a little bit, but it can get noisy. Okay, the grading here, this is new, came up this year, early this year, and basically it's the colors you want to set on your image, right? So mid-tone, shadows, and highlight. So if you notice the highlights around here is slightly blue, so that's highlight. I might want to make it a bit orange, right? Here. Or I can just grab it right there. So you see that? The highlights start changing color. So I'm going to stick to a bit orange. That's too much. No, I don't want it on. Okay, and then same here. Let's make it extreme. So this is the shadows, which is this dark area here. I can add a tint to it. So this is where you would add, it's like adding a filter onto your image, right? I actually like this color here. Okay, so this is how you create it. Shadow. This affects shadows, this affects highlight, and this is the mid-tone. Right, so this is everywhere else in between. Okay, so just stick to the middle if you don't want anything done to it. Okay, so this is what I want you to play with, is the grading here. Okay? And that's it about Lightroom that I want you to play with. And if you want to play with all these other elements, you're free to do so. Let's try one more picture before I end the video. Here's another one. Again, maybe I want a darker mood. I want to play with that. it's slightly tilted. Switch, click on this icon here and make it slightly straight. Okay. And that's all I really want to do in that window. But let's play with this for a second. And the color grading, so maybe let's say I want to have a slight turquoise to slightly blue, there you go, in this dark area, the shadows area. And the highlight, I actually like to keep the highlight pretty clean. And then the midtone, let's see what I'm doing. Ooh, the midtone is red. I like that, so I want midtone too. So these are the midtones here. Make it a little bit more redder. Okay, so that's basically how I want you to play, or what I want you to do with Lightroom, or this portion of the Lightroom, and then we can get into Photoshop and everything. Okay, so take a look at it, play with it, and see you in the workshop.